Hello, good day, grade 8 students. This is continuation sa factoring polynomials. Okay, so factoring difference of two squares. Before you proceed with this video, if wala pang kita atong first and second na video for factoring polynomials with using greatest common factor or common monomial factor, please tanawa sa ninyo ito na video. Okay? Pangitaan ninyo sa channel before you proceed with this one. Okay? Kasi kailangan makabalo mo ato before you proceed with this video. If you're done watching that video, okay, you proceed with this one. So let's have just a little review class. Okay, kasi kailangan nato ni. Okay, so we have to know as much as possible class, you're familiar na dapat sa kanila square of a number. Okay, kasi kailangan kayo nato in factoring difference of two squares. What is square of a number? Let's say for example you have 1. Then imong gi-square. Na kay 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Squared na sila, meaning imong gi-square ka na ng mga number. Unsa ang result? 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, and 81. So that is just simply, kung sa 2, squared, that is 2 times 2, 4, 3, 3 times 3, 9. Dili na 3 times 2 class, that is 3 times 3. Then if you have 4, 4 times 4, 16. 5 times 5, that is 25, until 9 times 9 is 81. You continue, 10 times 10 is 100, 11 times 11, 12 times 12. Go as much as possible class, dapat familiar na mo ana para mas dali mo makasolve. Okay? Unsay tawag nimo ani na mga numbers? Kana sila ang result sa imong square. Tawag ani sila perfect square, or that those numbers are a perfect square number. Please take note of this good class. Unsa ning mga perfect square na number kasi mao gyud ni atong kailangan. Okay? So next, we need to know the square root of a perfect square. Okay? Again, square root of a perfect square, meaning katong perfect square nato nga 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, and 81, ato siyang i-square root. Okay? Check. The square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, square root of 25, square root of 36, square root of 49, square root of 64, square root of 81. Unsa ang result? Square root of 1, 1. Square root of 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Unsay napansin niyo class? Nga pag ang perfect square atong square root, mubalik siya atong number na ki-square. Tanawa. Kaning result is nibalik siya kaning number nga wala gi-square. Apa ninyo? Ang square, perfect square na 4, pag i-square root, ang result is 2. Okay, which is owning a number. Okay? So, dapat familiar man. Or as much as possible, ma-memorize ninyo. Kasi gamito natin siya. Okay? So, familiarize with this. Or you can copy this one sa inyong notes para dili mo magbalik-balik sa video. But don't forget, kay ato siyang idikit sa video nato para as reference. Okay? So, these are the things to consider when solving or factoring difference of two squares. But before that, as I have promised, isulat nato to atong table ganina for reference. So recall the product of the sum and difference of two terms. Class review pa niya, this is not yet the lesson. The product of the sum and difference, product meaning multiplication sa product sa difference and sum of, product of the sum and difference of two terms. So you have a minus b times a plus b, or baliktad. A plus b is times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. Bantayin ninyo ang iyang nature class sa tanawa. Okay. This one and this one, parehara na sila. So, regardless kung unsang nauna, it's the same. Okay? Tanaw class, A. This A stands for any term. Pwede siya variable, pwede siya number. Okay? Tanawa, ang iyang corresponding sa PCAS is A pod. So, meaning, if you have 2 there as A, 2 pod di sa PCAS. Again, ang iyang second term sa imong sa imong i-multiply tanawa B, pareha gyapon sa PCAS. Okay? The only difference they have class is dili sila pareho og sign. Okay? Nakuha. Okay, tanawa, ang imong A ug B actually imo lang na siyang A squared para makakuha kag iso. And your sign or the minus or the sign must always be a minus sign. Okay? Okay, let's have an example. So, tanawa, 3 minus 2 o 3 plus 2. I-check nato ang nature if the same. Pareho sila 3. Pareho sila 2. And check the sign. Dili sila pareho. Ang isa positive, ang isa negative. Meaning, ingana siya na form. Nakuha? Okay. Unsa ang result ana? Ingon sa result, kaning 3 is imo lang i-squared. Okay, tanaw sa taas, ang A atong i-squared. Next. Ang B, atong i-squared. Always remember, ang sign, minus. Okay? So, 3 squared is 9, minus 2 squared is 4. And the result is 5. So, ingana lang. Another example. Okay, x minus 4 ug x plus 4. Check. Pareha x. Okay, tanawa sa taas, pareha. Next. Pareho sila b o pareho po sila 4. What's the difference? Okay, ang sign nila dili pareho. Okay? So unsaon ang answer ana? O check. I-square lang daw na nimo ang ilang first term. I-square ang first term, so that is x squared. Next. I-squared nimo ang second term. And again, ang sign is always minus. So squared of the second term, that is 4 squared. So, the answer is x squared minus 16. Kasi squared ng 4, from our table, pansin nyo sa table na to, okay? Next, we have our next example. We are now going to factor the difference of 2 square. Unsaong pag-factor sa difference of 2 square? Okay. So, butang lang natin previous nato nga slide niya, class. Okay? Para dili mo masaad. Okay? This time, baliktaron nato. Okay. So, kung sa previous style nato is the other way around, this time, gibaliktad. Nauna na ang product, ang atong kwaon, katong gi-multiply na, or the factors. Okay? That is how to solve or to factor a difference of 2 squares. Factoring the difference of 2 squares. Okay, in solving for the factors of an expression using difference of 2 squares, you need to check the following. This is very important. First, the expression must be or should be a binomial. When we say binomial, duha ka terms. Okay? 1, 2. So the expression is a binomial. Did you see that? Okay. Check. Next. the operation of the binomial is subtraction. Let's check. That is a subtraction. Correct? Check ta din na. Okay? Ayos. Next. The terms, the first and the last terms, should be a perfect square. Dapat perfect square. Let's check the terms, the first and the last. You have a squared and b squared. Okay? Those are perfect squares. So, check na punta din na. Okay? So, again before ta mag-solve of difference of two squares, before natin factor, you have to check these three criteria. Okay. So, after na ito ma-check class, we're now going to factor. Pag after na ito ma-check, then nakuha na ito itong three criteria, the expression should be a binomial, the operation of the binomial is a subtraction, the terms, the first and the last, should be a perfect square. If check na sila tanan, then we're going to proceed in factoring the given expression. Okay, so these are the steps to follow in factoring. First, you have to factor the expression using greatest common monomial factor. This is what I'm saying, class. Na dapat, itanaw sa nimo tong video sa greatest common factor. Okay? Pag wala pa ito nimo natanaw, you can pause this video, i-search ito sa YouTube na channel na ko. Okay? Kaya na ito naka-upload. Then, you go back with this video. Okay? Kasi kailangan nato ma-factor ang common monomial factor if there is any. Second, solve for the principal square root of the first and last term. Okay? And the third is write down the following factor in this format. Okay? Pwede a minus b times a plus b or a plus b times a minus b. Okay, let's have an example. Okay, x squared minus 4. Actually, nakita na natin ni ganina, no? Baliktad lang. First, kung sa ganibuhato na to is i-check na to. Okay, this time. First is expression should be a binomial. Is the expression x squared minus 4 a binomial? Yes, two terms na. Meaning, check na na. Look at the, class atong kuan sa taas, kaya naka-rectangle, naka-green na siya, naka-check, meaning pasok na tali na. Next, the operation should be of the binomial is subtraction. Is the operation subtraction? Yes, so check na punta din na. Next, the terms first and last should be a perfect square. Is x squared a perfect square? Yes. Is 4 a perfect square? Yes. Di ba? Tanawa. Tanawa sa atong table, 4 is a perfect square. So, check ta din na. So, meaning, nakasulod na ta atong tulo ka criteria. So, since nakasulod na ta sa tulo ka criteria, atong buhaton is to follow the steps. Now, first step is factor the expression using greatest common monomial factor. Again, if nakita na ninyo na video, pag magkuha tag common monomial factor, the GCF po niya class, katong magbuhat tag table. Let's say, for example, x squared of 4. Factor ni x squared is x and x. Factor ni 4 is 2 times 2. Na may common silang duha? Wala. So, kung walay common class, you proceed with the next step. Check na ang first step ha. So the next step is solve the principal square root of the first and last term. Meaning, i-square root nimo ang first and last term. So you have here square root of x squared. Then, square root of 4. So what's square root of x squared? Okay, from your previous grade level. Okay, pag naka-square root ang perfect square, i-cancel lang nimo na and the result is x. Then square root of 4 from our table, tanawa square root of 4 sa table. Okay, that is equal to 2. So these are now or this is the step 2. Solve for the principal square root of the first and last term. Meaning, the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 4 is 2. So, check na ta sa second step. Okay, check na. Next is, write down the following factors in this format. So, meaning, imo ra siyang isulat sa kana nga format. Okay, kana. So, isulat na nato. Your A is x, tanawa. Your B is 2. So, i-substitute lang na nimo dito sa atong format. So, we will have x minus 2 times x plus 2. Again, pwede na nimo magkabaliktad, x plus 2 or x minus 2. Tawa, ang x nimo, after nimo na square root, nahimo na siyang x, kung na isulat nimo din na. Ang imong 4, after nimo na square root ang 4, nahimong 2, and isulat na nimo din. Okay? And lahi-lahi lang na sign. Okay, let's have another example. Again, i-check natin isa-isa ha. So, first, the expression should be a binomial. Yes, binomial. 2 terms. Check ta diha. Next, the operation of the binomial is subtraction. Tama ba? Yes, subtraction minus. So, check na ta diha. Next, write down, the terms, the first should be a perfect square. Is 9y squared perfect square? Yes. Di ba? Si 9 is perfect square, si y squared is perfect square. How about 100? Yes, 100 is perfect square. So, check ta diha. Let's go now to the steps. Step 1. Factor the using greatest common monomial factor. So, this time class, di na ta magbuhat og table. I-check na lang nato, since tanawa, si first term na ay y squared. Si second term, 100 lang. So, meaning, wala dyan na sila common nga variable. So, automatic, ang ato pangitag common sa ilang duha class is si 9 lang ug si 100. Is there any common factor ni 9 ug 100? Unsang factor ni 9? So, 3 times 3, then, giapil nato, sige, 9 times, y times y. How about factor ni 100? So, you have 5 times 5 is 25 times 2, 50 times 2, that is 100. Is there any common sa ilang duha? Wala. So, kung wala, okay na tayo na. Okay? So, since walay common sa ilang duha, proceed to the next step. Solve for the principal square root of the first and last term. I-square root nato each. Square root of 9 squared is equal to 3y. Now, square root of 9y squared is equal to 3y because square root of 9 is 3, square root of y squared is 3y. Square root of 100 is 10. So, solve na ang second step. Okay, second step, check. Last is write down the following factors in this format. So, ingana na siya. Wherein, ang imong 9y squared, nagi-square root na imo ng 3y, sulat na nimo sa imong A. Next. So, next, ang imong 100, square root is 10. So, sulat na lang. So, ingana lang siya, class. Okay? So, that's why I told you earlier, it is important na familiar ta sa square root o sa perfect square. Kasi all you have to do is to identify if it is a perfect square. And after nato ma-identify if it is a perfect square, we have to get the square root of that perfect square and arrange that one in a minus b, a plus b format. Another example. Well, x squared minus 300. First, check if it is a binomial. Check. Next, the operation of the binomial is subtraction. Check. Next, the term first and the last should be a perfect square. Ang pangutana class, is 12 a perfect square? Hindi. How about 300? Is 300 a perfect square? Mas lalong hindi. So in this case, you proceed now to the first step sa pag-solve. Unsa na siya? You check for the greatest common monomial factor. Okay? Or the GCF. Okay? Yan. Get the GCF, greatest common factor, or the common monomial factor. Okay? Unsa ang factor ni 300 class? Na naapoy factor si 12. So, mauna inyong naon. Pag mag-factor mo, tanawa na dayon ninyo ang mga terms, si 12 o si 300. Unsa kahay common sa ilang duha? Let's factor 300. 300 is simply 12 times 25. This is trial and error kasi mangita man ka. Kasi 300 also has a factor of like 3 times 100. Di ba? Actually, ang daming factor ni 300. Why ang gigamit na ako is 12 times 25? Because there is a picas term na kay 12, which ang factor niya is 12 times 1. So meaning, nakakuha ta karon og common sa ilang duha. Okay? From the previous video, greatest common factor or common monomial factor, after nato makuha si GCF, isulat dayon nato. Then, kinsay nabilin? Ang nabilin, si 1 and si 25. So meaning you have, okay, you have 1 and 25 na nabilin. So, mao na po na inyong isulat. Tanawa. So, nabilin is, ang class, si 1 and 25. So, mao nang si 25. Sir, asa man si 1 diya sa x squared? Class, pag 1 gani, din na siya paris na variable, pwede na nimo dili isulat si 1 din na. That is understood na naa si 1 din na. Okay? Pero kung 2, you have to write down 2. Pero kung 1, understood na dili, pwede na siya dili butang. Okay? Understood na class. Okay, so di man na-erase. Okay, erase na lang. Nakuha? So this time, balik ka sa imong pag-test. So, is it a binomial? Check. The operation should be a subtraction. Check. Is the first and last term perfect square? Tanawa. X squared is a perfect term? Perfect square? Tama. How about 25? Perfect square. So meaning, napasa na nato ang iyang third na pag-evaluate. Okay? So, morning ingon ako sa inyo, x and 25. Okay? So, nag-green na class na naman. Na-check na ang third nato na pag-evaluate. And also, automatic, nakakuha na tag greatest common factor. Okay? So, tip lang class, kung mag-solve tag factoring, any kind of factoring, first thing that you're going to do is find a common monomial factor. Okay? As we go on through sa imong klase sa module, daghan man yung factoring. Ayaw jud kalimti ang common monomial factor. Bahalag malimtan nimo ang imong uyab o ang inyong mansari, ayaw lang jud kalimti ang atong mga gihisgutan karon. Okay? Kumbaga ang atong mga kagahapon ayaw kalimti. Okay? So ingana na. sagdi ng uyab din na, kalimti lang natin, di na makatabang sa greatest common factor. Okay? So let's proceed. Sa next step, yung siya solve for the principal square root of the first and last term. Square root of 2 is equal to x. Square root of 25 is equal to 5. Then last, nag-ingon niya, okay, i-green na nato na ha. Okay, na-check na. Last is write down the following factors in this format. Okay, so your answer now is equal to x plus 5, x minus 5 times 12. So, na-check na nato tanan. So, this is now your answer. Okay? So, class, I hope you get it and you understand it. Again, you have lots of examples in your module na pwede niyo answeran. As an advice and tip, okay, ang math, dili na hindi siya pa-bright time. You need to practice. Solve, solve, solve. Okay, hantod na ma-familiar na mo sa kanina topic. Okay? So, thank you for watching, guys. Again, please subscribe my channel. Click the notification bell button para updated ka mo sa mga nahitabo diri sa akong channel. Pahalag di mo updated kung nag-unsa na inyong mga video. Again, this is El Maestro. Thank you, and I'm signing off.